Sony, going back to your experience, just want to know in the MLS, how tough was it? And I think your first year with the Kansas City, you played really well and you played against incredible football players. Can you tell me who was the best opponent or the best player you played against?
Yeah, I mean, being an 18-year-old and being thrown onto the same pitch as David Beckham, and then having a corner kick and then looking in front of me and it's Beckham marking me. I have a photo of it, which is really cool. To then playing against Thierry Henry, who's an absolute legend, and not only did he go to the MLS um, to enjoy life, but he really killed it. He did so well with New York Red Bull. I think my favorite and the best player that I played against. Um, Besides Henri, because this guy was class, and also what a physical specimen. This guy was massive. By the way, you couldn't touch the ball, you couldn't get it off of him. Imagine him in the Premier League. Wow. Um, you know, One that is surprising is Sebastian Giovinco. When he played in Toronto, this guy was untouchable. So small, so sneaky. And I remember like having to trace him and try to I couldn't get the ball off of him. I couldn't even like focus on the ball when he had it. And he did so well in the MLS, I think, and then he ended up moving to Saudi Arabia afterwards. But for me, Giovinco was top. I mean, there's really big names. I played against Kaká, and he had scored against us. He was really good as well. Um, David Villa played well when I played against New York City. But I think the top one, yeah, was Giovinco. But I mean, these big names is crazy. Now you're starting to see more big names go back to the MLS with Messi and Alba and Busquets. So and now there's a competition, right, between Saudi Arabia and the MLS.
Exactly. I've noticed like all the big players or all the players that are like close to retirement, they're going either to Saudi Arabia or to the MLS. But that being said, now the MLS is actually nice to watch. Like I've been watching Orlando City playing, I've been watching Cincinnati FC playing, and those they don't have like
Cincinnati's a fun team to watch. There are fun teams to watch in the MLS. But you know what would make it more fun? You know what would make it more interesting is if there was promotion relegation, if there was something to lose. And unfortunately, with American sports, and that's something I think a lot of people talk about, is the fact that there's not this element of, playing for something. If you anywhere around the world, if you have a terrible season, you're not playing there next year. You're getting relegated and you have to earn it. These MLS teams, they kind of go into the season and if they do well, they do well and they're happy. If they don't, oh, there's next year. So that's something I wish would change. But 100%, I'm with you. The quality of the MLS has gotten a lot better. I don't know if I will return. Maybe if Detroit City gets a team, if Detroit, yeah, but now the buy-in is insane. I mean, the buy-in is 250 or well, however million, 250, maybe 300 million to get into the MLS. That's insane.
Yes, exactly. So I think the system is more based on who has more money that can actually invest in the league and create a team and just bring more players and pay them more. It's more than like it's not actually a progression. You're not creating a youth team or you're not creating a division two or three that is going to actually go to division one later on and create that system. It's like same problem in Lebanon. Like we don't have fields in Lebanon and the States, you don't have a progression of relegation system. But I think the system here or how they treat athletes in the States, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, because I lived here and I still live here and I see how they treat, I work with athletes too. I think we have the best in the United States, they have the best system ever creating, if you want, development or creating some professional system to grow the player.
I agree with you 100% on that. I mean, the environment of the professional environment that you can be in as a teenager is something that they do not have in Lebanon. And that's something that needs to be developed in Lebanon. Now, you see a lot of players being called up and a lot of chances now. I think they made a new rule that teams must field players, at least two or three players that are under 23 or something like this. I think that the Lebanese league implemented this rule, which is a good rule, to be honest. If you want the players to grow and you want the national team to excel, but it's nowhere near what the United States has in comparison, and what the United States has, as a package of a professional environment, um, is incredible. It's probably, out of all the places that I've played in, it's probably one of the best, if not the best, professional atmosphere. Talking about flying to every game, training facilities, even the media, doing interviews, doing things for the community, reaching out. I mean, these are things also the Lebanese teams, I think they can do more, and even the Lebanese national team and the federation can do more of touching the people and actually getting them on their side and reaching out. Because, for example, a little kid, a little 10-year-old kid, he plays football in the streets, and say there's an event where the national team is there, or say Nijme or another team, and he sees these idols in front of him, and he's basically able to picture, hey, that's what I want to do, that's what I want to be. I mean, these things are like the building blocks of creating stars and creating players that are passionate about the game. So that's something that I think also could be addressed, and it's very easy to do. It's not difficult setting up events like that.
Sonia, how do you think we can change the system in Lebanon and football? Where should we start? Other than the field and with the topics that we already addressed before, like the field, maybe the players, where, like right now, if you want to make a change at this moment, where should we start?
It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. I mean, besides the infrastructure, besides the facilities, I mean, those things should be the first things that we work on. Making football pitches that are accessible, that are taken care of, that are, able to use, and um, you know, I think that even having like uh, I think they have leagues, right? They have youth leagues. Taking the top youth players and, going on 2, 3 trips a year, take them around Europe, and play against the European competition. Have them interchange in the team. Have them be engulfed in the culture of football. This is something that can be done, and it's easy to do, and it wouldn't really be that cost. It wouldn't cost too much. Take a team, take the best players. If it's the national team, go ahead, take the national team. Don't call them the national team. Take a bunch of youth players, take them to Europe, have them play against other teams, have them learn, the culture, to see how other teams play, and then, do this 2, 3 times a year. You will see the progression. You will see the players. You could even have a couple of players each trip be signed by other teams, and then you have players in Lebanese based players playing in Europe, getting experience, getting all these minutes, and they can come back to the Lebanese national team and help. I mean, that I think that's an easy fix. I just came up with it right off the top of my head.
That's actually an amazing idea. And I was like listening to another interview with the Captain Rada Antar, and they literally asked him in the interview, do you think a Lebanese player can actually play overseas, like in Europe, not overseas in Europe? And the answer was no, because they are not prepared to play overseas, because you have to prepare someone. You cannot just throw him overseas, right? Just listening to your story, you started with the MLS, and then you transition from before the MLS, you were in EMG Academy, and then you played college. And so there was a transition. We cannot, as a Lebanese national team or Lebanese society, just bring one player and put him, with another team or with an
No,
overseas team like in
absolutely. You
Europe.
have to acclimate. You have to acclimate them. And that's something that is something that I did. I wasn't thrown into the MLS. I was acclimated to the professional environment since I was around 14. traveling all over, and even going. I mean, I went to Italy as a 14-year-old, to France as a 14-year-old, to England and Scotland, 15, Mexico, like going all to all these places, picking up and playing against different teams and different styles. I mean, you get this experience, and whether I got better as an individual, 100% I got better, but I learned from how they play, and I learned of things to do, and this is something that, I mean, Reda's right in a way, but if the player was acclimated, if a Lebanese player was acclimated to the level of Europe, then 100% he can play in Europe. I think if anyone was acclimated to the professional environment and has the proper skill set, has the proper determination, has the right mindset, they can 100% play in Europe. So yeah, I agree and I disagree with a tweak on that one. I think if they're acclimated, they can 100% play in Europe.
I also saw another topic, Soony. They were saying that if not Soony playing with the national team, if not Bassett Radi playing, is not Mehdi Khalil playing with the national team, actually the Lebanese national team will completely suck. Like it won't be a good team. So we're relying actually on players that they have a little bit another, if I don't want to call it they play, you actually guys play in a better league, but they have another vision, they have another experience, and they're actually impacting the Lebanese national team in a good way. So we're always relying on that, if you want, oversee impact to actually, make the national team a better place or make a better national team. What do you think about that?
You know, I think I mean that's a really good point. The whole point of the national team, I think ever since I joined the Lebanese team, we've always had players that have played outside and players that bring this experience. And the real difficulty is not finding the talent because there's talent everywhere. The difficulty is bringing it together and having it be a cohesive unit and a proper team. Um, now, over, I think recently, over the last couple of years, you're seeing a lot more attention to the players that play outside and players that could be Lebanese and could get the Lebanese passport. And this should always be maintained. You should always drive attention to players that could come to the national team and help them. Um, but the real goal is to be able to get them to mesh in, and that starts at home in Lebanon, is getting these players uh, acclimated and in the right mindset to work hard and to play as a team and to know the right tactical uh, things that they need to do. And I think if we can nail that, really we can get back up on the map. We can really do the best for Lebanon. We can make Lebanon proud. Um, but yeah, I don't want to say I don't agree with you saying that if we didn't play, the Lebanese team would suck, because there are definitely quality players on the team. Um, but uh, but that's all teams, all national teams have players that play domestically and overseas, and
Yeah.
the whole point is for them to be able to work together. So we can do a better job of working together for sure, and I think that comes with bringing up the the level and the understanding of modern football from the Lebanese league.
Correct. I also really like the point that you said, like, actually, the Lebanese players should be the core of the national team, and the other one are extras. So I see, for instance, the basketball national team, right? You have every single player, or at least like 90% of the players, that they actually play in the Lebanese basketball league, right? Because they have the chemistry together, they have the whole experience, they have the whole year playing in the same league and the same environment, and they're actually right now, maybe at this moment they're not making a lot of results, but in the past they did a lot. And I think because they reunited the team together. And in Lebanon, I feel the football, because it's a bigger scene, it's very diverse. Like players are not able, maybe the chemistry is not here, maybe the coach is also, from a foreign country. We have like a miscommunication with the players or mischemistry, and this is actually, those details, they impact a lot the results at the end of the day.
For sure. I mean, the Lebanese basketball team, I remember watching them recently. I mean, they definitely looked, they made us proud. Everyone was so happy that I even gave I have a Filipino teammate, and I'm like, Yeah, we be khod. But I don't know if I don't know. Maybe you know more about this subject than I do. In Lebanese basketball, in the Lebanese basketball league, would you say that the infrastructure and the investment is the same as what the
No,
Lebanese football? It's not, right? It's more.
it's
It's
not.
more in the Lebanese basketball than it is, I guess. And also, would you say that like do the I mean I know the Lebanese fans are crazy. Do they intervene as much as they do, for example, when Nijmeh plays or when another team like I remember watching some games in the Lebanese league, and I mean, the games would literally stop because the referee made a decision and they're throwing chairs and bottles. And would they do that in basketball?
They probably do it, but not as intense as football.
Uh, yeah, but I think that that is a good point. I mean, when you have players that play together and they play well together, uh, when they go to the national team, 100% they're going to carry that same chemistry, and it's only going to be better when other experienced players come in. So yeah.
Yeah, very good point. And I was also listening to another interview. You did it. And I heard that you play a lot of Pokemon Go. Are you still doing that?
You're interrupting my Pokemon right now.
Oh, really? I'm interrupting your Pokemon. I'm sorry about
There's an event, it ends in like 3 hours.
that.
No, I'm kidding. I still play, yeah, yeah, yeah. 100% I still play. I left my PlayStation at home back in the States.
Okay.
Um, and I mean that's not the reason I play, but that's the only right now the only source of like video gaming that I have. Um, but I've been playing. I mean, I'm too far in. I'm too far deep into Pokemon Go to stop right now. So
Oh,
I
okay.
continue to play
You're
and
very committed to it.
yeah. I mean, I actually joined when I played in Kansas City. There was these groups that I would join and play, and I'm in their Facebook group right now, and then they'll send me a message, hey, do you want to do a battle? Hey, can you get me this Pokemon? And there's also I met when I played in Lebanon, there was a Pokemon group in Lebanon, so I still
Okay, that's
communicate
good.
with these guys. Yeah, it's a
You're
fun
fine.
game. I actually got my nephews and nieces into Pokemon. My wife's telling me, ooh, I think that you're gonna let our daughter play Pokemon.
Yeah. And you have a baby coming soon, right?
Inshallah, in 2 months, yeah, we
Oh,
have one on
wow.
the way. So excited! This will be the first one. And yeah, we can't wait, inshallah. It's going to be right before Asia Cup. So this is going to be a really difficult moment for me, end of this or early December is when the due date is, and I know we're going to have a camp probably for before Asia Cup, and then Asia Cup is in January. So I'm going to probably miss the first 2 months of diaper changing.
Well, Mabruk, I'll tell you from now, Mabruk. And yeah, I know it's not easy having a child with a very intense moment or phase in your life. And this is why I always like really respect professional football players or any professional athletes. Like you can't stop. You have to deal with everything together, changes, life situations, and you keep going. So I'm really proud of you, Suni.
Thank you, bro. It's a blessing. I think one of my dreams was to play football and after the game to have my child on my shoulders or like walking with me on the pitch. That is an absolute dream of mine. And inshallah, I can continue to play until this moment and my wife and I are very excited and we're really blessed, alhamdulillah.